Cool, we're live. The mic is working and the audio, the music is in stereo, so we might as well just end the stream now. It's the most successful start in weeks. Thank you for watching the VOD. And yeah. May keep this one short. We'll see. I keep saying that and then it winds up being like standard time or 3 hours or something. But tonight, really do want to keep it short, but I didn't want to not stream today. They want to push it to tomorrow, and then after I said that I would do this. So cool. Wait and see if anybody comes in. If not, if nobody comes in, then this will be a VOD where I actually do work. Oh man. Hey Redris. Coolio Cube, what's going on? You guys need to let me know how the music levels sound. Pleasant background volume, perfect. Coolio, welcome. Gives me some time to drink a little bit of this iced coffee I just made in order to stay awake. It is 8:15, but I need it. I was all jazzed up. I was caffeinated. I'd sat on the balcony, smoked a cigar with the wife, and was ready to go, was ready to stream with all of my various necessary chemicals, I guess. And then work popped up, so now it's tapered back off. I'm going to get some caffeine in me. Hey, Gulo Gulo. Craft, Thor, Sulfur Gamer, Gunnavolf, Viper. What's going on, guys? What's on the list today? I'll be wait. Person who's asking that. It's funny because I was actually going to make an off reference to you on one of these streams, this stream or a future stream, and be like, hey, if you're watching this VOD. Hey, Swanee, Tsunami-san, Synthlytic, Burial, Ninjaneer, Double Stuff, That Big. What's going on, guys? Hey, Atomic Frog. Are there so the thing I was going to say is, if you're watching this at some point, I'm curious. Are there such things as effective, like in that they work, remote voice coaches? Is that a thing? And can that voice coach properly train a 51-year-old person to make scary growls and scream sounds? Most voice coaches are remote over Zoom these days, Bear Grump said. Incredible says 100%. Fiverr has voice actors you can hire. No, I don't want a voice actor. I want to learn. I want to learn how to sound like Randy Blythe or somebody like that so that I can go to karaoke. Or maybe one of these days, if the game doesn't work out, I think McDonald's is going to be automated. So that's not going to be a path, despite people recommending that online. I think it'll be... what if I can just take my old interest in DJing? I can go find a dusty Tractor S4. I can piece together some death metal tracks or hardcore, and then I will do the singing on top of it. You always have to have a backup plan. All right. Krolben, hello. Can we double the duration of sandstorms, please? Warp factor for you. I know this is your first time chatting, but because you're you, I think we can make it happen. Hackmanity, Mr. Nexus, WeirdX, thank you guys for the follow. I mean, you did separate follows, but I just imagined you doing like a Captain Planet together follow in a very special way. So that's why I left the S off. Panth used to do some voice acting. I can imagine that. He's such an interesting guy. Charismatic Voice said, you should email my hubby or ping him on Discord and he'll connect you to the perfect coach. I've never asked who your hubby is. I don't know how to email him. I've never asked. I felt like that might be a line that I would cross. When you've mentioned your hubby, I was like, well, I'm not gonna ask for any doxing information. I was keeping it professional. I probably should. And I might have, but I'm spacing at the moment. So now I'm feeling self-conscious. Should I know this? Do I know this? Shit. That's the problem with doing it live. Next thing you know, yep, there's some monk questions. I'm not going to get those right either. Son of a... When will clerics get our hammer pet? I don't know. We've got to keep some stuff on the list for the future, guys. Some of the stuff where you're like, hey, you left this off in the class revamp or whatever. You got to understand. We gotta milk you for 15. Like, so there's gonna be, okay. They'll ping me. Perfect. Now I feel less bad. We gotta dangle some stuff. Was talking to Zillith, and on the class stuff, guys, you gotta understand they are working. Jahar and Zillith are working hard to try to get the first passes in before the buzzer, just so that we've got less sort of bleeding over the line. Because we just don't want you guys to feel like, oh, you know, worried that we're gonna completely rug pull and make your class something else. So you can see, hey, it's there. See where they're going with it. I may not agree with this, or this may not be working right, or this may, you know, I think this should change, or don't like to bounce on that. But then you're still, all right, mostly there. There's no like, what's it going to be? So they're pushing hard to get that stuff done. There's Zillith. And then we'll keep reworking. And I'm not, it's funny, like the voice thing, the voice coaching for singing. Singing is one of those things I've always wanted to be able to do. And it's like this weird, it's a ridiculous range of like, if I could just sound like Bowie to like Randy Blythe, or now I'm spacing on literally everybody's name. You know, name, I don't know. I'm thinking Malevolence, but I actually don't know how much he hits it versus somebody like the singer from Kubla Khan, Texas or something. Anyways. That's just always been a secret wish. I once saw a young lady do Bowie at a karaoke place in San Francisco when we were there for an event, and it was the most amazing thing ever. So, Nightact said, I read your reply to the Monk post. I understand your circumstances, but multiple people have done extensive testing, and at the very least, hand-to-hand and FD, foundational elements to Monk seem completely broken. This seems beyond tweaks. Can we at least get an acknowledgement that the feedback is accurate, and if there is any point in continuing to test during beta in the middle of a move? No internet and don't remember the forum login. Sorry, no worries. I think Zillith has popped up below that. And then I'll scroll back up and say hi to people. Responded to Canaways. Will monks ever get to see hand-to-hand damage delay? Zillith said, I hope to get that in eventually. It's already known by the community. Zillith, do you want to elaborate on that before I sort of like wander through a quick response of us being aware of some stuff, looking at why other things are off? You had a nice summary earlier when we were chatting. Let me go back up. I mean, I could read out your explanation on what's going on with Fane. Hey, Ollie. The main thing I'd like to broadcast is our attempt to, at the moment, to get the shape of the classes in and tune them relative to each other in the world later. And then you had mentioned a couple of things in relation to changes that we were making. I mean, it was a nice breakdown with regards to Fane. Hey, Ollie from the beach. And then DPS wise, that's a whole nother conversation. So, the better way to answer your question is, yes, I think we can respond. I'm not going to say we're going to acknowledge that the feedback is accurate. We're going to say that there may be some accurate elements within the feedback. There's some inaccurate things within the feedback as well, likely. And there's some stuff that there's semi-accurate but circumstantial and will be resolved. So that's my big non-answer. And if necessary, I can if Zillith doesn't have the time to respond in the thread, I can get piece together something that's got a little bit more detail and get it to you. Zillith said, I've skimmed through it. We'll read deeply and get a post out this weekend. There you go. That'll be much better than any sort of things I can babble through at the moment. Scrolling back up. What is the absolute next class to be revamped, and what are the 3 reasons it'll be Ranger? Hackmanity said. You want the running order for the remaining classes? Will that make you feel all right? I'm scrolling back up while you answer. What kind of weather is going to be in the deep? We were just talking about this, Tuna Monger. Funny, we were just talking about this. I was talking about it with CAD, I think, on a call. We've talked about it internally. There will be different weather systems within the deep. We've joked about like it raining guano, and but there'll be fog. There may be condensation that happens. There may be energy storms in some place, or there may just be legit rain and things like that in certain areas. Strange types of thunderstorms, weird mists. Byreal said, I had no idea the charismatic voice was an Eminem fan. Your videos got me into trying to sing. It was actually a big surprise to us too, back when we first learned about it. She responded, my hubby has been playing for a couple years. I pop in these streams from time to time to show support. It's an interesting small world. Death metal may be one of the most reliable backup careers of the future. Yeah, because even if you can do it with AI at some point in a way that sounds right, you still want to see people on stage. So, what is the thought process of the plan to move SK from a more heavy armored necro fantasy to the blue mage style mob spell hunting? The thought process is that that's not what's happening. Like that became kind of a discussion point within the community. That was an interpretation of the approach that we were describing, and then we tried to provide more info on that's not what's happening. And then that part never stuck, so the part that's not happening just kind of stuck more. So that's what's going on there. Can you make the launcher kill that second window when you launch the game? I can't, but Ollie can maybe do it. RuneScape was out for 12.5 years before Old School. WoW was out for 15 years. That means that in approximately 13 years, we can expect Monsters and Memories Classic. That would be fun. Or maybe by 1.0, it'll be Classic. More keys today. The CS guys may have to do that. I'll have to keep an eye on it. I totally forgot about them, to be honest with you. So we'll see if GM Trent winds up running it. If so, Derelict will probably post about it. I'm going to scroll down and see if I can get caught up. Spore storms in the deep have been discussed because of all the mushrooms and stuff. You know, even if they're sometimes localized. Falling stalactites would be good. Coot, did you say something about my dome earlier? I think I scrolled by it. My main is flowing, yes. It is flown away. Thank you for submitting feedback, Wickasloth. Said fighters feeling pretty good so far. Weird things, but I've submitted my feedback. Focalol. Cacao Bush. One of the lesser known Bush brothers. Micro Hippo. Did I already say Weretics? Thank you guys for the follows. Fair Phyllis said, I'm so excited for this game. If that could, basically, if everybody in chat can just keep it along those lines for another 40 minutes, it'll be a solid stream. And then I'll get out of here early. I got some stuff that I want to reorganize in the house still, and it's getting late. Any plans to give clerics any more specific utility? Feels like that was missed against a stated aim of the deep dive. We'll respond more on that front. One of the things with clerics that's I think tough, and I'm not necessarily speaking for Jahar here, but you know, we want them to be very solid, effective healers, and we want the game to feel like you need that healing. And so that it reinforces their value in what they do best, and we're not necessarily just looking for additional utility beyond that. Not saying that that may not exist or that there aren't things that we could potentially do over time, but yeah. I think it'll be nice. Let's get paladins in and look at them relative to paladins. We'll get shaman in, and then we'll be able to look at them a little bit more holistically. We'll have druid, shaman, cleric in. We'll see the more melee focused counterpart. Deep dive order. No, you didn't miss it. I alluded to it and then did my thing where I get distracted completely. All right, are you ready? I verified this with Zilith and Jahar a little bit earlier. And this may be the wrong way to do it. But you guys tend to repost the stuff. You do recap videos. You post in the various areas. So, and I'm not going to put, they gave me milestones, internal milestones for this stuff, but I'm just going to say next, meaning the next thing coming up, after, and then after. Or maybe we should just do the milestone way of saying it where it's now, next, later. But anyway, on deck. Paladin, Inquisitor, Shaman, Elementalist. Then Bard, Necro, Enchanter. And Shadow Knight and Ranger. There you go. Double Stuff said, you know me, I love to cook. I just thought I'd throw that out there. What crazy thing did you throw out? Oh, now that you've been implementing cooking better in fishing, is there any thoughts on having some type of grocery bag in the system so that we can store more instead of taking up all of our space? Oh, interesting. Like, specialized containers are always nice. In my opinion. Ashira Body Pillow, hello. How are you? Says Keys already got released today? Did I miss it? I was in a conversation before this. I meant to stream earlier and then... Dude, Keys got released. They're on fire. They did it at 2024. 1,500 general invites. Is that today? That's 7th? That is cool. Handled. Looney Goon Gaming, thank you for... It's funny. I was thinking about the evolution of the term goon. Not that we're going to stay on this topic very long, but I mean, it is Friday and we're semi-adult. Because my wife, when we were sitting on the balcony earlier, and I was telling her, babe, you've got the cash for it. Live a little. We don't know what the future's going to bring. There's threats and dangers everywhere. We're in a nexus of... The simulation is hitting a very interesting time. And I was like, babe, just spend the money on nods. She needs a good set of night vision goggles. And she's like, yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm like, if not now, when? You know, and maybe we can do a little more research and we may find that there's just better thermal options, or maybe some night vision with thermals. Anyways. So what does she do? She pulls out her phone and she plays the Nod song. Do you guys know the Nod song? Because she loves the Nod song. But during the Nod song, there's where I think there's a part, I don't know if it's the chorus, where it's, when the moon's out, all of my goons out. Let me go here. I've linked it. Thoughts on making storage boxes for homes bigger? Feels kind of lackluster with the amount of space they end up needing depending on guild size. We've got a... I know this is an answer for a lot of stuff and you guys probably don't want to hear it, but there's a lot of stuff that we want to do with house progression. And when I say house, I'm saying it generally. One of the things I've got is just like a side task that I've just got to keep chipping away at, is getting the rest of the housing in. I mean, it's not necessarily as critical as certain other things, but I want to make sure that it gets done. But there's a lot that we want to do and probably shake up a little bit with regards to how you progress through storage, different types of storage, different housing furniture as it relates to setting up a house or a property in a way that defines it as for a specific purpose. At the moment, there's not a lot of gameplay impact with regards to, hey, why would I want to set up my place as like a crafting hotspot for these trade skills, or as a shop or a tavern or a gambling den or something like that. So we're not going to hit that stuff by EA. We want to continue to get the infrastructure in place for it, but we want to, over time, I know it'll sound wacky to some people, but I'm sticking to it. Like, we want to have it so that it feels like there is purpose behind evolving your rented property in different ways. And one of the things that I've mentioned wanting to do on that front is, as cities start to have different properties being used in various ways, you may see a variety of NPCs that come and go that weren't there before, and certain benefits within the town unlock and stuff like that. So Justin Beard, my dear friend, asked, serious question, do I need a permit for a coffee shop? I think about your coffee shop frequently, as I mentioned in the last stream. Jasmine also regularly mentions that we need to make sure that you can have a coffee shop. When I was discussing that example I was just given with regards to different purposes, I'm still trying to think of how do we make it so that it's justifiable to have a coffee shop? Now, maybe it's a lounge where you can sit and smoke and have coffee. So maybe in order to make it fit perfectly with lore, we have to have it be a shop where you can purchase different pipes and wonderful herbs and sit and have a coffee at Justin Beard's place. It is a Seattle coffee shop, not an Amsterdam coffee shop, Simon. Though, I mean, dual purpose, I guess. Yeah, when I went to Amsterdam, it was like, if you want coffee, go to a cafe, I think. So we wound up at a coffee shop. That was the strangest, like, hour and a half trying to go 400 meters back to our hotel. Friend, Fiend by Proxy, hello. Oh my gosh, good evening, everyone. Oh my gosh said, good evening, everyone. Oh my days, how good Eminem is. Obviously, there is a lot of work to be done, but I have not ever in my life had so much fun in a video game / bow. Well, holy shit, I will take it. Let's end the stream now before it goes sideways. That's it. We're 30 minutes in. I think that's long enough. What was that? Yeah, good stream. Bye. Let's end on a high note. Have a good weekend, everybody. Anybody from the team streaming? Will there be property taxes? Can we dispute appraisals? Let's save that as like a 1.0 feature. In today's climate, we don't want to come at you with too much like getting audited and stuff. There's enough of that going on in real life. WordX ask Robot, I may have missed this earlier, but any chance enchanting will get a quick pass to allow for upconverting of the harvested material? Not to punish the harvesting pass, but support enchanting to solve for why dust upconversion was disabled because of higher level players camping low level drops for ease of high level dust acquisition. My Friday brain is not. All right, so we started with chance of enchanting will get a pass to allow for upconverting of the harvested material. Not to punish the harvesting path to support enchanting to solve for why dust was. I'm reading this the wrong way, I think. Are you saying, hey, is there a chance that we'll put in what we took out back in? Wouldn't that lead to more sort of path of least resistance, low-level harvesting? Or am I just reading that wrong? Or just dumb? I may just be dumb. I tell my wife all the time, my job is not to be smart. My job is just to be convincing. Smart and likable, not on the list. Convincing, all that's needed. Torlin. Hey, what's going on? I am doing all right. How are you? There was a question about deep gnomes somewhere. I saw it. It registered my periphery. There we go. Morphine. Said, sorry if I've been discussed already, but any ETA on deep gnome and elf? Erkenstaff has been getting in, can I just leave here? Not the stream or the room or this world, but this scene. Are you sure likable isn't on the list? Well, I mean, it would probably work better if I was more likable at times, but it's funny, my wife still laughs because we both took one of those big 5 personality tests years and years ago. I think it was rigged. She got like 100% agreeable. I got a literal goose egg. I got a 0. And I was like, that's not even true. I tried to be agreeable. Freaking multiple choice. You could convince people you're smart and likable, though. Deep squats. You are. There's a reason why you're a deep gnome. You are very smart. Is your journey over? Or are you beaming in via satellite phone? Do I have any weird characters on this? I don't think so. Am I in a weird spot? I don't think so. I'm not in Fallen Watch. Am I wearing only my underwear? Yes. Where can I zoom? Let's go to underdogs. But Ergenstaff has been hitting the deep races walk and run animations to get them, because they're so prominent, and they were using placeholder animations. Okay, so WordX said, my proposal is to allow the magic items dropped as part of harvesting to be upconvertible. Harvesting drops are still rare enough that it's not going to make it easy, since you still have to harvest 4 magic drops to convert to 1 tier higher. And since nodes are a finite resource, but with enough openness for competition, just thinking it might solve the original removal. Oh, interesting. I'm not as... Oops. I'm not as versed on the statuses of that as I could be, but let me make a note, because I can talk to Rift and the guys about that and see. Let me open my stream notes. I'm just gonna straight up copy paste. Why? Because it's important to you. Can we label our tunes as alt or main in our guild tab? That's a Dulce Dooms, that's a nice request. So little requests like that, it's easy for them to get lost at the moment, because we've just got a lot going on at the moment. And that's a topic that I'll continue to hit on the various streams, is just sort of maybe setting expectations. I think I've mentioned in recent previous streams. Oh, let me. You're welcome. Previous streams, just setting expectations, and we're gonna have this on the. We're gonna update the website with some new notes, freshen it up a little bit before the big party. We'll have, when you go to pay us, we'll have some click-throughs that are reiterating the state of the project. Been discussing it just more internally a little bit, and I'll continue to talk to the team about it. So while we absolutely do want the game to be as good as it can be for where we're at with things now, when we go into EA, and one of the reasons why we're joking around about, like, what should we call it, and you guys landed on, was it pre-release? No, not pre-release. Premature release. It's just reiterating that, hey, we've been doing this the whole time without asking for money, and when you guys offered money, we said nope. We haven't charged any access fees, right? It hasn't cost you anything, I hope. If you had to pay any of us to get into like alpha or beta or whatever, let me know. Like, we've just avoided all of that until we got to a point where we felt like there's enough game there to warrant you paying 1 burrito a month to to help us along with our endeavors. We haven't taken any deals with publishers. We haven't taken anybody's money. It was just like, all right. But when we get into premature release, then, you know, essentially we're going to continue to work as we have been. If we have enough money to start getting some people paid, then you may see higher throughput in those areas, and we'll continue to be very open with you with regards to how much money is coming in, how many subs we have, what our weekly actives look like, what our monthly actives look like. We're going to give you every bit of the data, and we'll tell you how much we're spending of the money that's coming in on what specifically, right? Like, this much is going towards servers. This is how much we've allocated because we were wanting to make sure we got dedicated CS. Here's how much we're, you know, how many people we're able to bring on board part-time, full-time, or whatever. So, and we'll continue to improve dashboards and means of showing you that data, because it's better, in our mind, it's always been, it's better to show you all of that than have you speculate, and we just don't want to bullshit, right? That said, we're basically going to be doing what we've been doing. And so stuff is going to be incomplete. You may go into a zone during premature release where there's still some placeholder assets, or we're going back and we're going to revamp the characters, the mobs that are in there, or you're going to find bugs, or we're going to be tuning classes, or we're going to be adding a little thing or removing a little thing, and we've got trade skill work we want to do, and we want to, but the thing that I've really got on my mind is how better to create a roadmap that articulates when we think this stuff is coming, better than the shit that we've put up before in terms of roadmaps and stuff. And like the most recent roadmap, I've got to admit, the stuff we want to get done before beta and then stuff we want to get done during beta roadmap, I haven't been spending the time that needs to be spent on like making sure that's updated and looks good or whatever. So one of the big things on my mind is communicating status to you guys as we go, and then we're just going to be in, right? And so for us, it's just kind of like continue doing what we've been doing, try to get better at certain things, try to find efficiencies, try to get more throughput in certain areas, and then you're giving us money, right? And when people are like, they're just doing it for the money. Well, I mean, we're doing it to finish the game, obviously. But yes, now we want some money. So, hey, Keebs, because that helps. Yes, the merch shop will be up as part of that. Does that make sense? I'll be working with Goblin in the next couple of weeks to get the merch shop straightened out for you guys. Any chance we get a quick public play test before EA Friday? Starting over. Any chance that we will get a quick public play test before EA launches? I wanted a month ago, I would have said, yeah, we're going to try to do it. I'll be honest with you. Right now, we mainly want to just get the stuff done that we need to get done. There are certain things that we really want to get done before EA goes live, like getting you guys up in here, up in the deep. The people that are in beta, I don't know, maybe right towards the end, we just open it up. I'll have to talk to Ollie on that. And yeah, but basically, you're going to get to play test all you want starting in October, which isn't that long. It's not that far away. It's just going to cost you $15. And I've had some people ask, like, do you think $15 a month is appropriate for an unfinished game? And I can only say, it's only $15 for 1 month if you don't like what's here. If you get in and you're like, there's not value beyond the you know, you play for an hour and you're like, oh, this is bullshit, and you're done. Then it only costs you $15. If you get in, you're like, this game is incomplete and there's stuff being worked on, and I'm basically paying to play test, but you find 2 months worth of stuff that you want to do, then it costs you $30. You should honestly put a retail price on top of the $15 a month. Hey, listen, if I knew other games were gonna pop out with a box price of a monthly subscription and microtransactions, no, I'm just kidding. We would have still just done what we're doing right now. It's always just felt the fairest to us. That's why we've been saying the exact same thing for 6 years now. $15 is the price of a burger now. It's crazy. It is crazy. It is really tragic, to be honest. I joke about the burrito thing. Atomic Frog just said, I heard that it's only 75% of a burrito. Yeah, but it's just the truth, man. One thing that may hurt is we have a big family, so 15 times 6. That is kind of gnarly. Well, I mean, there's not a... Yeah, but you wouldn't be able to play together. I was like, it's not like we've got a pretty wide character limit. I keep mousing over. So we're working on something. I keep mousing over and it's triggering it. Is it intended for clerics to need to spam their prayer of the faithful to fish for piety procs? I'm gonna guess no. Let me see what Johar was just saying on that. Love the glowing underwater mushrooms in here. Oh, they're crystals, because we got this crystal theme, and they are really a beautiful example of the value of putting underwater glowies in. It is an amazing zone, Zillith. I can't wait to get you guys in here. Will there be lifetime subscription option? No plans for lifetime subscription. For 2 reasons, or maybe it's all the same reason. The challenge with lifetime subscriptions is either it's just, honestly, this will sound callous or whatever, but it's the lifetime subscription is either a ripoff for us or for you. And so if it's somebody that would have or the only way to make it not a ripoff for us, I guess, if somebody's asking, is to make it kind of not great, right? So essentially it would have to be priced so far beyond your potential lifetime value as a player that it would be like this ridiculous amount of money, and then we would feel bad about taking that. And also our accountant just said no lifetime subscriptions. The accountant forbids it. I have heard the argument made on a game that I worked on that had both a subscription fee but also microtransactions, that the business analytics team kept arguing that people who bought the lifetime subscription, even if, and I think it was only like €100 or something, even if it then dips below their eventual LTV, tended to spend more on microtransactions as well. And so when you converted somebody to a lifetime member, odds are you're going to make more money off them off microtransactions. We don't want to do either of those things. And we don't want to charge yearly subscriptions either. 3 month or 6 month, we talked about, basically we've discussed not enabling multi-month subscriptions until people have played for a couple of months or a few months. We prefer people get in and play for a few months. Like, we may add a tip jar if the goal is to find ways to give us a bit more money because you support what we're doing. We'll still got to talk to Atomic Frog and the guys about this and see if there are any legalities and get a feel for if anybody feels like it's crappy or creepy or whatever. But we like the idea of just the monthly sub merch. You can buy a bunch of merch, but the profit margin on merch is not necessarily going to be great for us. But it's cool for you guys to have it, and it's cool for it to get out, and it'll be a little something. And then if there's like a tip jar or whatever. Yeah, margin on merch is bad, but merch is so cool. That's the thing. Merch is just I've wanted to do fun, good merch at a company on a game for 25 years. I think I've mentioned before, but, before I got into Variant / Sony Online, I was in the skateboard scene, and my friends are in the skateboard industry, and I just always thought, that industry is nothing but merch. And I just thought, man, wouldn't it be cool if one day gaming is cool enough that we could have cool brands and merch? And yes, I don't know if it was Wicca who asked that earlier. This is a Huck Finn style. Been wanting to get ferries into the game for so long. That's why we want rivers to be very big, because then your mount can't cross the river. And your mount can't cross the river, and you have to ride a ferry across. And that's just what I do it for a while. Charismatic Voice said, I'm doing poster merch, anatomy of a voice with harsh vocal MRI scans. Oh, interesting. You could totally do posters with anatomy of a fighter or mage with some funny infographics and pop-outs. Oh, for sure. There's so much that we can do. We're going to wind up doing so much merch. Yeah, don't worry. Between the creativity of like the community and the guys on the team, and yeah, stuff like our internal discussions on should we rename LFG to DTF, and stuff like that. Very professional crew. Rugs were coming. Extra $5.99 a month so your name can be animated on the forums. Look at you, Keebs. What's that mysterious, whatever the mysterious UI element that keeps popping up is? It looks awesome. So we have a new programmer on the team. And he is the individual that, as part of getting on the team, also threw in the checkers and chess game for you guys. And so one of the things that we're working on, we've got to figure out the best place to put it on the screen and stuff like that, is as you mouse over stuff, this aesthetic is not, it's what he put in, but want to have like a very sort of non-obtrusive, maybe just kind of like little darker, easy to read text, whereas you mouse over certain elements and stuff in game, you can turn it off, but it just gives you a little basic tooltip so you understand, like, yeah, see, like this. Can you read that from there? And so to just be a little little bit tooltip. It's been our list of things to do for quite a while. So imagine it being transparent without a border, tighter spacing on the stuff, blah, blah, blah. So Loki, our editor and one of our writers who's done the new player guide, basically just took all the stuff out of new player guide and has a spreadsheet of, I don't know, a lot of items. So that makes it'll make it easier to, you know, I think. I was like, is there a mob nearby? Right, so you get that little pop-up of like, press this button to attack, C to consider. And so we're working on the tools tip stuff right now. He started on that this week, and then if we get that in a nice spot, we're going to work on the offline tutorial. So that'll be the next thing that we'd like to get in sooner rather than later, is the offline tutorial. So like right now when you're going in the plane of meat and you're running around, that'll actually have static versions of things where as you get near them or mouse over them, it'll tell you what they are and how to interact with them in the game and stuff. So it's a diorama of the game that you can run around in and kind of see before you play the game. This is how it works a little bit more, because sticking pretty firmly to that idea of keeping tutorial out of the game. So it's the idea is always, we've discussed it for years now. The idea of if there's going to be a tutorial, it will exist outside of the game. And so when you get into the game, if you want to come in just raw and don't know anything about it, great. You can come in, you'll figure it out as you go. You can read, you can read the manual or whatever, ask an OC. If you're waiting around and you don't know about the game yet and you're waiting to play or whatever, then you can hop into the offline mode. You'll see some stuff. It'll give you some information. It won't be like playing the game. It'll be more like, running through Kabbalah or something and looking at the creatures and understanding what happens with them. So anyways. So that's been on our list. There have been a number of like first-time user experience things that have been on our list for a few years, and we're just getting to the point where we can quickly get these in. Just don't do the EQ offline mode that allowed asset pulling. No, I don't think it's any different than, like, basically anything you could leverage there, you can already leverage. Because we already have an offline mode. You guys are already running around in an offline mode. Well, I still want you to read the webpage document, because there's still going to be more information there than you're going to find anywhere else other than reading a wiki or talking to your fellow humans. So yeah, we've got animations going in for these guys in the deep gnomes. Have you guys heard that having the tutorial page up on one screen causes massive lag in game? It's been a while since I did it, but I know that it was an issue I had at one point. Osmos? If it's still happening, let us know. I haven't run into it. I mean, I'm an editor right now, which is not optimized. Let me see. Maybe I can recreate that bug right now. Not gonna lie, the first thing, it's not doing it yet. First thing I expected when I logged in was for the guards to point in the direction of the NPC I asked about, since that's what you did in EQ. But they didn't point, did they? Any idea about the min spec of min specs for the game? Got GTX 1060, getting about 15 frames in Fallen Pass. I'm sure we'll be updating that soon. I forget, where was our cutoff before? I could have sworn, let me look. I think we alluded to. So we've currently, stated Windows 10 version 21H1 or higher, 16 gigs of RAM, relatively modern CPU, 1060, 6 gigs of VRAM or equivalent, dedicated GPUs with lower specs or some integrated GPUs may suffice, but performance will be limited. So Champs asked, have you turned off a VSync in game to see if that helps? Looney Goon said, could be my 14-year-old CPU then. Yeah. Wallabus, see you, my friend. Take care. Have a good weekend. Guards pointing was Dayak. How did they handle them pointing through walls? Game is more CPU intensive than GPU. That's true. They just pointed through walls. I think that's, when we've talked about it in the past, that was the main thing that we were worried about. Less than zero, Rat Paste, Coolio Cube, thanks for the follows. Zombie Jesus 86, thank you for the follows. Despite your blasphemy. Smidge the Other Goblin. Is that your full name? It's cut off. Okay, it is. Just turning facing direction does a lot. Dude, would you guys care if they like pointed through a wall? No? It wouldn't break your immersion? What if it was during a sandstorm? I point through walls all the time. Fair point, Pipes. I do that a lot more now that I'm missing my finger, actually. I smash my hand into stuff so often now. I think it's just because... I don't know what it is, man. I think our limbs... I read an article a long time ago about how your hair, if you've got longer hair, your hair can sense vibrations. And that was a study that was run by the Army during the Vietnam War. Because they were talking about hair length standards, and they were doing research on whether or not longer hair made sense in combat environments, right? Is it a hygiene thing or ability to grab it, or did the longer hair like allow them to sense stuff? Because they're saying a lot of the Native American soldiers who had longer hair were able to sense movement at a greater distance. Anyways, so with the finger missing, I think my hand just doesn't sense where it's at as well. I jam it into stuff all the time. How did I lose my finger? That is such like a 8-year-old in the grocery store question to ask. Mom, that man's missing his pinky. There are a number of different stories on that one. Some of them less appropriate than others, so even if it's Friday, we'll keep it. Yeah, bear fight, the war, gator, got hungry, hair trimming, wife said no picking. Trip to Japan. I've told you before that somebody in the YouTube comments was pretty serious about they say the game has no funding, and yet he has tattoos and a missing finger. Mafia related? Question mark, question mark. I was like, only the one finger? Kudasai. Game funded. Pipes. Easy. EA clearly needs to launch before it costs me a toe. Have you ever seen my feet? Have you ever seen my legs at all? It's been an expensive project. How are you guys approaching in-game language generation? You mean in terms of like Elven language and Old Hethalian and things like that? One of our team members and GM is a linguist. Do bug reports log your location? Caliber? They do. They provide us with a lot of information, so it's helpful when you're using /bug. And if you pick the right topic and subtopic, that gives us even more information, so it's nice. That does too exist. Or does it not? I'm sure it exists. Teaching it. Oh, because I'm dumb. Been testing terrain. Wasn't sure if it did. Yes, it does. What is my class share on EQL? I've got to admit to you, I'm going to be really honest. I haven't had a chance to play. If you could add just one more class to the game before EA, what would it have been? Citizen. Even though Jahar was joking about it in some additional classes earlier. And what was he saying? Tentacle Mancer? What would I be in EQL if I did play? Cleric, Druid, Rogue? Asplomancer, Dargith. Hold on to that one. What's up? How are you doing, Gnome King, Dart and Weeple? What are your thoughts on using guards in town to help kill mobs for XP? That it wouldn't be good. It was like that back in the day. Pinamu said, robot, actually a robot from the below the waist, confirmed. Hey now. Who have you been talking to? Your mom? How's progress on God's devotion system? Oh, it's going pretty good. So Pilgrim, who is in here in the past sometimes, one of our programmers, has been hammering away on it. So that's been coming together. And I know Jahar's mentioned some fun ideas, longer term for stuff that we want to do with the implications. We were just talking about this again before the stream as well. Implications of different religions. And the last thing that he was working on, because he was just updating me and Ali like yesterday on it, getting renunciation, getting the ability to renounce your faith in. So he's got that. He's getting that hooked up in a way. We were talking a little bit about the best way to handle faction implications on that. So there's a little bit of, I think there's going to be more content work than even tech work on it soon. But yeah, over time, this will be one of those things that there's a lot of this stuff that we're just trying to get the foundation in for premature release. So that then as that period is going, we're able to come back in and refine and get more content in and more content in and more support. And was just talking about, no, I'm actually not even going to mention that. I was talking to the guys on that theme about some fun locations. I'll just leave it at that. Some fun locations over time that we could add into game that have implications with the religion and devotion system, and in places maybe where you can swap things up a little bit and get kind of weird. If you'll notice, there are a lot of different cultists in this game. You'll run into cultists all over the place for different reasons. And what are your thoughts on pulling guards to help you in PvP? I think so I'm just going to say something off the cuff in a PvP. People will be like, that doesn't make any sense, and that's fine. That's why you guys talked across. If the world was big enough and the balance on the guards was to a point where we feel like they're not just unkillable sort of enforcers, and we had enough of the various factions in, I could see ways of making that feel better. Has there been any discussion about removing dual wield from Beast Masters? Feels like it would be healthy for the class in the long run to cut it off now before balancing issues arise from trying to please both dual wield and two-hand players. Nothing that I've seen come up. I think we're just going to try to do a lot of pleasuring. Any work on a new trade started yet? No, but it is on our schedule, and it is a topic that comes up. We were just talking about. I was just talking to Ali about that. It's like we got to get that worked out. But traits may take the form of. Yeah, pause. Sorry about that one. So traits should be something that's not just what you pick at the beginning and then hope and pray you didn't mess up your character. So we want to have some initial traits plus the inherent traits based on your race and your class. Little RPG flavor thing. Then as you progress, keep in mind, as we sit and talk it through with the systems guys, they may look at Ollie and me and go, no. But I think they're on board. But essentially, traits that you have the ability to unlock at intervals as you progress. And then maybe a system for the high end, the end game we've been talking about, where then there's more of that ability to unlock traits that aren't AAs by any means later on. So, but we're going to have that conversation and lock it down very soon because we're running out of time. Wicked Sloth asks, Sean, does the lore have a source, like all from your head or from tabletop games, anything like that? A lot of the deep lore was something that's a mix of, not deep lore like the location I'm in, but a lot of the sort of background foundational lore is a mix of stuff that I've had in my head, I have in my head, plus Hamad was working with us for a bit and kicked out some stuff, and he was fun to collaborate with. And Bunny was on the team. She was one of the first 4 team members with us. And she had a lot of fun takes and stuff and brainstormed a lot with her as well. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't wanna like ruin it or make it feel more mundane than it could be or whatever, but I'm such a huge fan of, and have been for a very long time, like of Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson and the old, the sort of like the what would you call those guys? Are they sort of like crypto historians or something? And between that and just some old ideas that were kicked around for other games that never made it in, and a love of like Lovecraft, and so there's a lot of that, and then it's kind of just passing it through the Forgotten Realms kind of filter mentally. Are the Spiral Lords a way in the future thing? The Spiral Lords are a thing that have impact always, but in terms of like more explicit interaction and things like that, I will say you'll have to see. Tons of humans in the deep. Are those placeholders, or will humans be able to start in the deep? Humans will be able to start in the deep, but you'll also see as population continues, you'll also see more of the other races. But humans are well represented in the Underdogs. Well, friendly NPCs in cities have rare loot like a dungeon or named mob would. Yes. More of that over time as well. Matter of fact, let me go check on something. Love Randall. Yes, love Randall especially. He's such a teddy bear of a man. So something like Telekir had a lot of inspiration from Cappadocia, right? Like so in the Underdogs, there's opportunity for other types of factions. So you'll start to see, with the release of the Deep and the Underdogs and stuff, you'll start to see factions, religion and stuff have more impact, more of a feel of impact. This is kind of first time seeing it spoiler stuff, huh? The guys have been hard at work down here. Will Deep Elves have places to sell bank above, or will they have to go back to the deep each time? Depending on how they faction over time, there may be more options, but you'll have to keep an eye out for outposts and things like that. When it said release of the Underdogs, as soon as we can get it out to you guys. We're hoping to get it out before we go into early access. That's our plan. Just keep in mind, like we've had just a lot of people dealing with a lot of real life stuff. The job environment, I don't know if you guys have been seeing it as well, but the whole disruption on people's work. We're a volunteer team. The bulk of the team have other jobs. Some of those jobs have definitely been taking interesting turns over the last year and a half. So, you know, some of the folks that had a lot more time a year and a half ago have had less time this year. So we just manage our schedule the best we can. It's just been an interesting project to manage. Not all of us have digits to sell, Swanee said. You've got a few. I know a guy. Let me see something really quick. Let me meet this guy. I need a new CPU. What races cannot start in a deep, or is it too many to say? Well, Wood Elves for sure won't be starting in a deep. Any chance you can show us Ultravision? Where'd you guys land on that whole thing? Relic, most recently we've had a discussion on some ideas for what to do with it that are a little bit different than what you've seen so far, but it's not locked in yet. Like I said, it's going to be a busy 6 weeks. Rumor that deep gnomes and deep elves might have some sort of penalty or negative buff in direct sunlight. Is that true? At the moment, it is not true. It has been discussed as part of the vision discussion. Guessing wood is going to be a premium product in the deep, or will there be other materials players be able to use as fuel for fires? We have talked about making both of those things true. Are invites over if I don't have it in the mail? I didn't win it. That's probably accurate. What's the plan for servers if the server interest poll doesn't get enough hits? We're going to try something to kind of pump that up before the time period is fully elapsed, and see if that gets us any additional info. And then if we're looking at the info and we don't think it really tells the story that we think is the correct story, then we're gonna make some decisions and go with it. So I don't know if you guys have been in here recently, but you're going to start to, you should see that there are more NPCs around. Depending on your faction, that may or may not matter. Again, we want the city to continue to grow and have opportunities for different factions to come in and hunt in each of the cities as well. Honestly, Wicca said at the end of the day, having a dedicated RP server is cool, but if we don't get one, the community will decide on one. LOL. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if it's honestly, if it wouldn't create so much of a hubbub, that effort is going into it, and if it wasn't another thing to have to like manage. At some point, I really do want to get the whitelisted VoIP like hardcore RP server in place. It's alright. Are any of the uncommon or rare jewel crafting recipes currently implemented post update changes, or are they going to be added at a later point? They're going to be added at a later point. To the best of my knowledge, we've mentioned them, but they're not in yet. Yeah, Wicked, that was the main bit of feedback that we got from people when we mentioned it. Was there are a number of people that would want to just do text, and we've always pictured it as kind of like a GTA 5-ish. Was it no pixel style RP server? And I wonder, like, can those two worlds live together? Raids back before EA. Some of them should be coming on. I think if we had resolved one or two questions, we would have had all three of them ready to go for this update. But I think whenever Ollie patches next, they're probably all three going to be available. One of them will have a bit of a key quest that we'll probably wind up having to tune or whatever that you guys may determine you don't like. We'll see. The other one is World Boss, just available, and the third one you guys already know how to trigger. And then we're going to we're taking learnings from those to extrapolate out to the remaining encounters. Wait, are we getting prox chat? We've only discussed that for the whitelisted RP server in the past. No plans for proximity chat for the rest of the game. If at some point in the future we were ever to do that, it would be something that'd be turned off by default, but still. Who shut the lights off to the keep overlooking Night Harbor? I missed that. I can't remember if that was just a byproduct of the the issue we're having with lights at a distance, or if it's the fact that they're integrating the new facade zone. I think it's just because we're updating. It's not that we just went in and turned off the lights on Fallen Watch. It's that there's a new Fallen Watch up there. If you look, you notice there's a lot more of it. The totality of this dungeon is such that we have discussed potentially splitting it into 3 zones. And it will make sense as you get more familiar with it. So we'll see. It's going to be an interesting one, just because it's a pretty unique dungeon for us. So we'll see what it plays like as we get people in. But yeah, so if you look here, it used to just be this chunk right here, and now it better represents what you can see from this side. But keep in mind that it's not just a rectangle. The layout is more of a square than a rectangle. Or maybe a rectangle in the other direction. So, is endurance stat ever going to be relevant again? We've talked about it a bunch. It would be nice. Bet the view of Night Harbor is amazing from the very top. Maybe. Won't play on a server with in-game voice as an option if there are other servers available. Yeah, and I think that for us, for our crowd, that's the general consensus. The reason why we mention it for the whitelist RP server is just because, in all seriousness, the idea is that it makes for fun content. Give us a nice GM fly from far away. I don't know if that... I mean, it's not really gonna... It's not going to. Don't think it's... Trust me, going into the zone is going to... what led to sense heading getting put in? We've been discussing sense heading as a survival skill for a few years. Could we get VFX to do footprints in the sand? Oh, that would be nice. That'd be a nice touch. Zach? Well. Didn't we have those in Wizard 101 and Pirate 101? Trying to get far enough away. We're getting fairies, but will we be getting fairy NPCs? Yes. Are they not in yet? We have cute fairies. Have you not seen them in the update? Will we be zoning into Fallen Watch? Yes. Yeah. Can we give gnome fighters to get a fairy pet following them around, asking them to listen? I would hate to raise the ire of that IP holder. Any quality of life changes planned like mini maps? Count AI, no. No mini maps. When the D plus starting factions are in, will Wood still be able to start Night Harbor? Or only in Fail and Draw? Ooh, good question. Which class deep dive changes have been pushed to test so far? Everything that's got a deep dive should be on beta. You haven't left Sunken Resort since the patch to see fairies? This zone is sufficiently creepy with volume up and room lights off. Oh, nice. Well, Deep Race is getting weird mounts. There will be weirder mounts over time for sure. Any chance of Spycraft update with Bard, Deep Dive, knowing trade skills are set for update, mostly happening after EI launch? We haven't discussed Spycraft in a long time. We're holding off. This zone feels odd without the green glow. The green glow will be back. The green glow is just gone by accident. The green glow has been up there for 6 years. It's not going anywhere. It will be green and glowing. Guys, keep in mind, when we update stuff, as much as we seem like a well-oiled machine that makes no mistakes ever, and we love you for thinking that, sometimes stuff gets missed, stuff gets broken, stuff that was fixed 5 times gets broken again. I want to know how this is still a desert with how often it rains. You need to get on YouTube and you need to search within YouTube desert rain. Are we going to eventually see the other big glowing castles? Which ones? Those are meant for closer to 1.0 or 1.0 plus. I mean, we know what they are. They have some fun story. There's some great long-term implications. There are some interesting ones that you'll see around the world. A coding question. Do you guys have something intrinsically coded to a specific item that could cause issues later? I'm specifically thinking, wow, how stuff was coded entirely around the backpack. Oh, I'm sure. Ollie, a good Ollie question. But I'm sure there's... I mean, one of the joys of making an MMO, beyond just the fact that any changes that we make during open development are always received only in positive light and everybody is comfortable with change in our community. One of the other joys is just the fact that if we're blessed enough to be chatting here on stream 5 years from now, we'll be somebody coming in and going, somebody from the team being like, I can't believe we hard-coded whatever it was or did whatever we did. 5 years ago. When the project was started, what was the thought behind picking a desert as the first area to fully flourish within a game? Also, what's the next biome after the deep? So the first thought was people love the color brown, and the more that we could just make the game look as many different shades of brown as possible, the more we thought that we'd receive a like warm welcome within the gaming community. And because of, I mean, people are just like, when are we finally going to get to see some brown in a video game, right? Am I right? And so we're like, well, that could be an easy win for us. And then the other thought was, we're like, well, and then we'll have stone protrusions coming out of the sand, so that can make for some fun shapes, especially with the various boulders. And then we thought, you know, one of the great things about it making a desert is they don't require a ton of assets, unless I guess you're making like a Ashes of Creation desert where it's just like, holy shit, that was a really detailed and interesting looking desert. It was mostly I felt it was super nostalgic and did I make it through? Am I officially through? Okay. Oh, there's still a wall there. Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of, it reminds me of, I think, you know, a lot of people from our era see the desert and get nostalgic. And then, yeah, this is a bit more colorful than it is going to be soon, but I know some of you like the disco, the roller rink. Here, I'll little spoiler. One of our new designers slash artists. He started as a artist. He was a level designer before he went to Blizzard. Then he was an artist at Blizzard, and then a designer at Blizzard on an unnamed project. And now he's in here working on Caves of Aram. He's made up for my slack. He showed up right as I was like, oh, thank God you can take over, and he's done fantastic so far. And so he just added this, and it's pretty damn cool. Is this with Ultra going? No, this is not. Can you swim up it? I mean, why wouldn't you be able to swim up an inverted waterfall? Can you swim down it? Yeah, sure. Why wouldn't you be able to swim down an inverted waterfall? Will the deep have any automated boat-like travel? Absolutely. There's a deep ship stuff being discussed and worked on as we speak. Is it upside down, or are you? It is going in the correct direction. Deep ships equal ghost ships. Ghost ships are separate. Mega bidet. You guys don't ever change. We have to work on... I think we need to do an occlusion bake. Any plans to put tavern games on a ship? Eventually that would be cool. Water Vader, let's go. Underground Goonies ghost ship theme. There's an Underground Goonies theme, but they're not ghost ships. They are orc ships. Have you not seen our Goonies zone? I'm just our legally distinct Goonies zone. Plane of Goonies. We wouldn't be able to use that name because you guys would just call it Plane of Gooning. Booby traps? Oh, I love them. Slick shoes. Zone has a different feel with no glowing water. Yeah, we're doing a water pass as soon as Goblin's back. Water everywhere is broken. And as you can see by the flickering stuff, we've probably got to do an occlusion bake in here as well. So the next thing that we're going to be working on here, if I'm not mistaken, is this forest area. So I've got some good thoughts going on for there, but I'm glad. I've been talking about this water spout for years. It's so cool to see it in. I do not have ultravision activated. As you can see, stuff's very much still in progress, including lighting. Spore effects from the mushroom caps would be awesome. Yeah, so when we redo the forest, we've talked about having unfortunately I can't draw my screen. We talked about some of the different mushrooms having areas under certain mushroom types where they're either dropping spores all the time or that's sort of a weather thing that happens. So this isn't firm, but one of the things we talked about with infravision and ultravision, one of the things I pitched kind of recently was seeing them more as almost an ability type, making them less of a permanent feature for the races that have them, and making it something that you have to focus on to activate, and then looking at what they actually do. Because if you go back through the Deep Elf books, for example, and how they use Deep Elf, the Drow, I guess they didn't really call them Dark Elves in there, did they? Just Drow. So anyways, if you go through the old D&D books, you look at like how it's described as something where you'd be able to focus on the heat signatures and to me, the way I always read it was it wasn't always present, and it wasn't like just this ability that gave you perfect see in the dark vision. It gave you access to certain information, right? So heat signatures from living entities and heat that's been transferred on the surfaces for various reasons and things like that. So I've been asking the team, some of the guys, some questions about taking it into a slightly different approach where it's more about being able to see certain entities in a different way at a distance in the dark, but it's still not then completely counteracting, right? It's not just changing your gamma, etc. So maybe going more of a route like that. So based on all the lore and characters being created, which author would you love to either work with or write on our world? I think it would be fun to sit and brainstorm this sort of world with Clive Barker. Weiss and Hickman. Yeah, I mean, fair. Not Denneman. Not until he responds to my message. Matt Denneman or any of Matt Denneman's people, I know you're not going to respond. But we saw the Variety interview. We saw the Variety interview where you're talking about one day maybe wanting to make an MMO. From the moment I read the first book, from the moment we listened to your first book, I was like, oh, this reminds me of some ideas that we pitched at Sony a long time ago and never got made into a game. So if anybody out there has got connections to Matt Denneman, So the Deep is going to be a confusing train network dungeon, maybe. Oh yeah, I haven't shot a message on his Patreon. I'm on his Patreon as well. If you guys want to get a low-key influence campaign going, if you guys want to start putting the word out, we've never asked you to brigade anybody, but if you guys ever want to, you've been very effective in the past at reaching different people. Is Defend the Night still works? I haven't heard from those guys in years. Like what I'm seeing, can't wait to blow my Taco Bell money on y'all. We appreciate it. Looney Goon Gaming, thank you for the follow. If I wanted to get to the underdocks from Night Harbor, how would I go about it? You go down. And it will be clear where you do that at once it's in. Actually, I don't think it's a big secret. You want me to show you? It's not like a super stealthy secret place. Jeff Hayes is a genius of a human. No spoilers on the last book, please. We're still working our way through it. We were going to take our time and go through all of the books on the way to the last book. Excuse me. I'm going the wrong way, obviously. Hey, Nikki. We were gonna listen to all of the books leading back up into the last book, and then listen to the book. I'm gonna tell you, without spoiling it for anybody else, there's a scene. How can I phrase this? There's a sequence of events in a scene in one of the books that kind of kicks off a key character through a tragedy that I'm not even going to bullshit you. We were listening and listening and listening and loving the books again all the way up until we got to right before, and nobody say it, before this happens. And we kept not getting back to listening because we just listen. You know, we have dinner together, and a lot of times that'll be like our time together for the day, besides the morning. And so we'll listen for like an hour, and we'll be listening to Dungeon Crawler Carl and eat, and and then go back to work or whatever. And we just kept all of a sudden not listening because we just couldn't. We couldn't. It's just one of the most heartbreaking things in a book. And I mean, it's just, oh man, it's so rough that we're just like, do you want to just skip it? Let's just skip to the... And so we skipped it and started the last book. Hey. It's not glowing quite as much, but it's glowing from here. Oh, sorry. I was on a mission to show you how to get to the place with the thing. I swear if the tragedy is what I think it is, can I cry on an ogre's shoulder in game? Dude. I'm not gonna lie. The first time we listened to it, I looked up. My wife is just like ugly crying. And it killed me. I was just like, oh my gosh. Dude, this is tough. It's just... Also, one of my favorite characters ever. Their true origin there. Let me make it so you guys can see. Time. Unrelated topic. Eminem needs goat mounts. This is true. Ah. And doggos. And we've already got the wolves in. I don't know why gnomes aren't already riding wolves. I don't know. I don't understand I don't understand the priorities this team has. I don't understand their prioritization or why they're not focusing on important things like gnomes riding wolves. Goblins riding wolves? Goblins could ride garbage. Gnomes, thank you. Have you thought about making certain mounts for deep specifically? In Lord of the Rings, online, for example, you couldn't ride a horse in Moria, you had to get a goat. A little bit. Thought about it a little bit. I mean, you've seen the deep elf mount in the one illustration, right? The lizard. Right. Riding a slithering slime would be cool. I don't know if that's a mount as much as it's a fetish. Tellin. What's with the goblin hate? They're sewer gnomes. No, I like goblins as well. I think I mentioned a couple months ago I made my first goblin play character. And I was like, man, I gotta make a goblin. I feel like I'm betraying gnomes. And oh, it was a blast. I had so much fun. Goblins just make you feel like a goblin. Anyway, I'm showing you how to get to the Underdocks. The hip hup sounds? Oh, it's just wonderful. It's a wonderful experience. I mean, I'm a little weird looking in this transformation. I don't know that I would pick this mustache. Then again, I don't know. I guess the Wilford Brimley kind of suits me, huh? Asliel remembers. Hey, Vulark. So I'm showing you the way to the Underdocks. Oh, do you know how much pipe smoke I would have just in this? I would smell wonderful. Will we ever get different underwear options? Maybe one day. We've talked about different underwear options for role-playing reasons. Stensball, thank you for the follow. Zukin, why are you working on all these additional underwear options? All he said was roleplay reasons. So, here is one route into the deep. Will goblins start in the Underdocks only? We've discussed it, yeah. My back is sweaty. Mom spaghetti. Lord. I'm going to get a grown-up chair again at some point. But I feel like I've been using up all of my toy budget for this year. So I've not budgeted a new chair, but at some point I'm just going to get an actual real chair again. Been in a grind group for the whole stream on your fighter? Right on, Justin Beard. Any chance for a little love for us Linux users on the Linux client launcher? What's the issue? You gotta tag the right people on Discord for that. Gotta tag Minitoto. Any plans to make horses run faster? Yeah, we've discussed some modification to horse speed as part of the great overall move rate tuning of 2026. We've discussed it. Hey, Sinexa. And I'm not being sarcastic, Varkings. Yeah, in the past, I think there's a little more hesitation to play around with move rate stuff overall, but can I get out of here? I can. But as we've been touching some stuff. Zillith, did I misrepresent that? I thought we've discussed some stuff like that. It just seems weird that in beta you run faster with Sal. Actually, it's not weird at all, because when we discussed that we were putting mounts in, one of the biggest things that happened throughout all of the forums was in unison. There was shrieking from druids and other Salcasters that were like, don't invalidate our class by putting in mounts. So we're very careful to druids are always shrieking because we're always pulling their tails. Zillith, it was about whether or not mounts would ever be faster. And I said that we've talked about looking at various speed adjustments for mounts as part of the overall bigger move rate conversation. If mounts were sowable. Oh, too bad you guys couldn't have gotten that Ashes of Creation money. LOL, this game is about 1,000 times better. Well, maybe it's better because we didn't get a bunch of money. I do my own cooking, thank you. Make mounts faster but use stamina. Short-term speed boost. Little Breath of the Wild. Are you guys open to rare mounts dropping off of specific mobs like the Imp and Saru mounts? Were there unique mounts on it? Oh, Imp, and Saru. Sorry, I was thinking of. When classes are wrapped up enough for EA, I can look at mount tweaks and issues again, Zealous said. The chances of rare mounts existing, I don't know if they would be drops, but existing later in the game is there. Dargith thanked Zillith for the good focused answer and saluted. Quests for mounts I find enjoyable. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Is like you'll see a lot more quested stuff as the game gets older and the world gets bigger. What zone am I in here? I am in Night Harbor. I'm just on the backside where the river is. Dargith only when you're around. Yeah, so if you go through the bins, then there's this area back here. And we've got to get it fleshed out. There'll be some housing back here for you. A few more NPCs and then the zone line. Wonder if the path to Underdogs is too dangerous because of the bins? I don't think so. I think it makes sense. Yeah, I thought the faction started like wary but neutral, and then yeah. And they're ways up here. Will that lift ever work? It's probably gonna stay ornamental for a while. Yeah, so you can, I mean, you can pop in. You gotta watch out for this guy if you got bad faction, I guess. Wait for him to pass back. Gnomes would be small enough to ride large rabbits. Hares, just saying. Man, you just made me think of Light No Fire. Gonna see more VFX soon? It is, yeah, Archer's just continuing to crank away. There are pink lines in the sand on the screen. The game, or is it my laptop being wonky? Me or somebody else? Zillith said the idea with mounts at the moment is that the ones you can buy in Night Harbor are starter mounts with basic stats you can augment with some gear. But you'll later upgrade to a faster, stronger mount. Level only affects their survivability if you get caught in combat while with them. Would love if clerics could magically create lights, halos, magic torches, or glowing items. I think I've seen that mentioned a couple places. I don't know that it's I don't know that it's the worst idea, but I haven't talked to the guys and seen what their thoughts are. All right. So it is now 2 hours and 12 minutes into this. That makes it 22:24 on my end. I have a brand new toy that I want to mess with this weekend. I got to rearrange some stuff. I've splurged and bought a humidor. You can't see the area. Maybe I'll post a picture at some point. I don't think you can see it behind me. And so I want to get that all wiped down and bundled up and getting it ready to throw cigars into. Silly, I know, but what is this place? This is the backside of Night Harbor. It is the bins. If you make it through like the sketchier part of the bins, it is back there. There will be merch during EA. Any chance to see Ben's pathing love anytime soon? It's still a mess. It's honestly our best test case for how crazy pathing can be. So you'll probably see incremental improvements as we go, but we may be able to get in here and add some different connection nodes and stuff. But I think so far Ollie's been treating it as a what do we need to do with pathing in general to make it less of an issue rather than just patch up specific stuff. But yeah, we're going to continue to focus on pathing improvements. Is anybody from the team streaming? Is Criddle still streaming? I owe him one. Oh, so he's gone as well. You know what? Then you know what we can do? We can just say goodnight the way we used to. Walton style. I miss doing that. Whenever I raid, I don't get a chance to say goodnight to people. If Zukin wants to spin up sometime soon, then that's we can do that as well. Cool. You know what? Then let's say goodnight. Let's say goodnight. It's Friday, so I want everybody to have a good evening. Weekend. Evening. Have a good evening and weekend. IGT, thanks for being here. Zukin After Hours. Well, he'll be drawing more underwear. For roleplay reasons. Selwyn79, thank you for the follow. Vulork. Take care. Good night, Barathos. Osmos. Valen. Baffs. Thanks for being here, guys. Dedix. Jeffrey. Inyan92 and Mariah's. Thank you for the follows. Good night, Derelict and Schmidrini and Davion and Dorkachu. And Viper. Charity hugs. Best hugs. Gorf. Have a great weekend yourself. Oh my gosh. Yeah, hope to see you in game soon. Good night, Tsunami-san, Captain Hook, and the Medicine Show. Dadvik. No, thank you for being awesome. See ya, Pipes. Wickasloth, thanks for all the wonderful questions. I'm glad I can answer some of them. Hey, Chess Solo. Have a great weekend yourself. Good night, Vorair and Keith and Grumpy Monk. Wordex, thanks for being here. Old Draenor. Guy Love, see ya. Craft, Redris. Looney Goon. Tell your Sofa I said hi. I will. Radapaf, gute Nacht. Ich wünsche euch eine schöne Wochenende. Schönes Wochenende. Yeah, close enough. Night, Zukin. 2.5 hours work, then back to the grind. Nice. Enjoy the grind. Pinmu, auf Wiedersehen, Tschüss, ciao. Later, Dragon, Spencer. Penny Loafer, hey, you were quiet tonight. You're very welcome. Thanks for taking the time to swing by. And I will. Clan Crushbone. Good night, Emperor Crush. Take care, Todd. And appreciate your jokes. Later, Nikki. Zeldar. Justin Beard, I hope you continue enjoying your fighter. Hey, Auto P99, I appreciate that. Good night, Tellin. Indian92 said pretty good. Schönes Wochenende. Ja. Ich muss mehr Deutsch sprechen. Wir sprechen kein Deutsch nach Hause. Zu Hause? Ins Haus? Zu Hause. Aber was kann ich tun? Okay, guys. thanks a lot for being here, and I will see you guys next week. Oh, I might see you next week. I'll try to squeeze in a stream next week, but we're going to be out of town Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and coming back early Monday. So last sort of thing for the year, really. But yeah, I'll try to squeeze one in. Cool, man. Hope you guys do well over the weekend, and I will see you soonish.